All right, Tucker, welcome back. We missed you. And welcome to Hannity. We have huge bombshell new developments to bring you tonight surrounding the FBI's investigation into so-called Trump-Russia collusion. According to the chairman of the House Intel Committee, Devin Nunes, no actual intelligence was ever utilized to start the Russia probe. None. That's right. It's now day 341 of Mueller's investigation, and questions still surrounding just why the FBI's initial inquiry into the Trump campaign was kicked off in the first place. An incredible development. So much for fair, open, and a transparent system of justice. Now, also tonight, James Comey is on the second week of his whirlwind I'm Great book tour, and he now finds himself in big trouble tonight. According to the Office of the Inspector General, the disgraced former FBI director is now under investigation over serious claims of misconduct. We tried to warn him right here on this show. And we're going to break down Comey's misdeeds. And coming up, we have new information on what is the DNC's laughable last-ditch attempt at a lawsuit against the Trump campaign, and the president's responding. Now, we're going to bring you the groundbreaking new diplomatic developments surrounding Korea. We have important economic achievements right here at home that should blow your mind. Nobody else will report them. And then later in the show, you will meet conservative writer Candace Owens. She will weigh in and join us on the left's disgraceful outrage over the public support that she got from Kanye West. All right, a lot to get into in tonight's breaking news opening monologue. All right, we start tonight. House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes just revealed something that should concern every single American watching this program tonight. The FBI's investigation into whether or not the Trump campaign colluded with Russia was started without a single shred. Zero intelligence. I'm not making this up. Take a look.
The counterintelligence investigation uses the tools of our intelligence services that are not supposed to be used on American citizens. So we've long wanted to know, well, what intelligence did you have that actually led to this investigation? So what we found now, after the investigators have reviewed it, is that, in fact, there was no intelligence.
That's right. So the FBI began a serious investigation of an American political campaign unprompted by any intelligence at all? Wow. Now, there's more to this. Listen to what Chairman Nunes went on to tell our own Maria Bartiromo. Take a listen.
We do know that longtime associates of Hillary Clinton, including Sidney Blumenthal and another person named, I think, Corey Scheer, were actively giving information to the State Department that was somehow making its way to the FBI. This is from two people within the State Department who have now publicly come out and said this in, I think, in major news publications. We now know that there was no official intelligence that was used to start this investigation. We know that Sidney Blumenthal and others were pushing information into the State Department. So we're trying to piece all of that together.
Now, this is a deadly serious charge coming from the Intel Committee chairman. And remember, it was just a few days ago that the Freedom Caucus chairman, Mark Meadows, he made a similar claim and even suggested that the Obama administration played a key and vital role in kicking off the investigation into the Trump campaign. You can't make this up. Take a listen.
But we now see that the State Department, and it appears that the White House at the very highest levels, including the president himself, were involved in this whole narrative of investigating Donald Trump. The messages, the text messages that I've had the privilege of reviewing, and some of the other correlating information would strongly suggest that there was not only information given to the White House, but indeed that they were involved in directing some of the actions of the Department of Justice and FBI in the fall of 2016. That's troubling. When you see one president allowing their DOJ to get involved in a political campaign.
So do you still think the Obama White House would never tamper with a politically charged investigation? Think again tonight. And according to a completely underreported part of the recently released Inspector General's report about firing Andrew McCabe, quote, listen to this. McCabe said a high-ranking Obama Justice Department official expressed concerns about FBI agents taking overt steps in the Clinton Foundation investigation during the presidential campaign. Now, listen to what they say. Quote, McCabe told us that the conversation was very dramatic and that he never had a similar confrontation like that, call with a high-level department official in his entire FBI career. We got to think about this. Now, remember, this was all happening while Andrew McCabe's boss, James Comey, Mr. Book Tour, was giving Hillary Clinton the white glove treatment during the criminal investigation. We know she broke laws, committed felonies as it relates to the private email server. Now, these two fired career bureaucrats are likely now headed towards a major collision course. This is going to be interesting. You have Andrew McCabe in deep legal trouble over his lack of candor, lying under oath, while serving as the deputy FBI director, number 2, and McCabe is probably going to have to cut some deal. And this may involve turning on that other guy, James Comey. Now, McCabe should have plenty to say. Now, for example, remember when Comey agreed to call the investigation a, quote, matter at the request of then Attorney General Loretta Lynch? And we can't forget James Comey looked the other way, while Clinton obstructed justice by deleting 33,000 subpoenaed emails, acid washing with bleach pit, destroying cell phones and devices with a hammer. By the way, try that at home. Good luck. And maybe most damaging of all, it was the exoneration before investigation. Comey and his team cleared Clinton of all charges months before they actually did the interview of her and 17 other key witnesses. Now, ironically, the initial crime Clinton may have committed and should have been charged with, look at this right up on your screen. Our own Greg Jarrett and others have identified this, 18 U.S.C. 793, mishandling of classified information, is now the very same charge that James Comey is now himself being investigated over. He's hoping he has a James Comey in his life after he, of course, leaked those memos dealing with his meetings with President Trump. Those were not allowed to be leaked. Classified information were in some of them. Now, this weekend, the president tweeted, quote, James Comey's memos are classified. I did not declassify them. They belong to our government. Therefore, he broke the law. And additionally, he totally made up many of the things he said that I said, and he's already a proven liar and a leaker. Where are memos on Clinton, Lynch, and others? Now, according to the Office of Inspector General, Comey is now being probed over whether or not he acted unethically when he leaked those potentially classified memos to his friend. That guy is a Columbia professor. His name is Daniel Richman. And of course, we now know that Richman went on to leak these memos to the press, putting the wheels in motion for the appointment of Robert Mueller as special counsel. Now, it's very interesting. Congressman Jim Jordan, he's shining a light on this unusual relationship between Daniel Richman and the FBI. I had not known this before. Watch this.
The Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee interviewed Jim Rubicki. And during that deposition, it was brought out that Daniel Richman, the guy who information was leaked through to the New York Times, had this special status called Special Government Employee Status, where he could sort of come and go in the FBI, which may not mean much, but it seems kind of interesting. The guy that Comey leaks to is a good friend who had this sort of unfettered access into the FBI.
Pretty amazing. And Congressman Jordan also detailed possible deep state collusion between the media and some of the highest ranking officials in the government over the salacious, anti-Trump, untrue, unverified, Clinton bought and paid for phony Russian dossier. Let's take a look at this.
Clapper, I think, is the one who probably went out and leaked it right after that.
You mean the press was working on it, CNN, the dossier?
They had it.
So if you have the cover of, we briefed the president-elect, then they can report it.
Gives it weight, and that's exactly what happened. My guess is, I don't know this for sure, but Clapper's the one who orchestrated this. He's the one who told Comey, you go in, you talk to the president. You're the one staying on. You brief him on the dossier, the salacious, unverified dossier. And then, of course, right then after that, CNN talks about it, prints it, and then BuzzFeed printed the whole thing.
Right, now, this is the same dossier that was used to acquire that FISA warrant against the Trump campaign associates. And remember, they lied to the FISA judges. And remember, they never disclosed who paid for this. Now, make no mistake, this was campaign opposition research, bought and paid for by Clinton, her campaign, funneled through that law firm, Perkins Coie, put together by a foreign agent based on Russian and Russian government lies, and used as evidence to get a warrant during a political campaign against an opposition party, all the while Comey and his cohorts, they never disclosed the true nature of this document, and they lied to the FISA court judge. That is a crime, which brings us to our next top story. Now, the Democrats' laughable lawsuit against the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks, and Russia. Now, we all know this court-filed conspiracy theory. It is nothing. Please understand that this is a desperate publicity stunt. But breaking tonight, the DNC's brand new lawsuit is now revealing what is almost an unbelievable double standard. All right, so we told you about the anti-Trump dossier. They presented that to the FISA court to get the warrant we've been talking about tonight and nearly every night on this program for the last couple of months. So the dossier that was used to get the warrant that supposedly links Trump to Russia in the most salacious, embarrassing ways that was never verified, in this lawsuit, it is nowhere to be found. It's not even in there. Let's lie to the judge, but let's not lie to the next judge. Okay, I really understand this. So the Democrats, along with the Clinton campaign, were the ones that paid a foreign spy to piece together this document on Russian lies and rumors and so-called Russian intelligence. Now listen to what Chairman Nunes had to say about this totally embarrassing political Hail Mary. Take a look.
We know who colluded with Russians. They don't want to admit that they colluded with Russians, but they hired they hired a law firm that hired Fusion GPS, that hired a British spy that went and colluded with Russians. So I don't understand why they just didn't open up a lawsuit against themselves. They should name themselves and sue themselves so that they can get to the bottom of what do they have on their servers. Why didn't they give those servers to the FBI? This is nothing more, nothing less than a continuation of fundraising off of this scandal.
This is unbelievable. Now, clearly, as many are now noting, this move from the Democratic Party whiffs of nothing but desperation. And even some in the Democratic Party, including Claire McCaskill, they're admitting this lawsuit is merely a distraction. By the way, she's up for re-election. That's probably just for political expediency. Now, meanwhile, President Trump, he announced his response on Twitter. Look what he wrote. Just heard the campaign was sued by the obstructionist Democrats. This can be good news in that we will now counter for the DNC server that they refused to give to the FBI, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz servers, and documents held by the Pakistani mystery man and Clinton emails. By the way, we'll bring you more information as that plays out. Luke Rosiak at the Daily Caller has done amazing work. All right, finally tonight, we're going to end on some good news you'll never hear from anybody in the media. Despite what I describe as the 5 forces that have been working to defeat this president, one to prevent him from getting elected, then to delegitimize him and get him thrown out of office, you have the media, you have the never-Trumpers, you have weak establishment Republicans, you have Democrats, and, of course, the deep state. You know, the Trump agenda keeps seeing massive, major progress both right here and abroad. Now, this includes big progress on the economy. Look at this. 14 states, 14, have now hit record low unemployment numbers, including Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, Hawaii, even California, Wisconsin. Now, meanwhile, the U.S. is also seeing record low unemployment for African Americans and Hispanic Americans. And on the international front, we'll talk more about these developments later. Late last week, North Korea announcing, this is huge, little rocket man, they will suspend all ballistic missile testings, and they plan to close a nuclear testing site. And according to reports tonight, Kim Jong-un also has dropped his demand that all U.S. troops leave the Korean Peninsula. They can stay in South Korea. Now, this comes ahead of the president's upcoming meeting with the North Korean dictator. Now, these major groundbreaking developments came as a shock to many in the mainstream media. One fake news CNN reporter literally became speechless, and this is priceless. Take a look.
Kim Jong-un saying North Korea no longer needs any nuclear tests, mid-range and intercontinental ballistic missile tests, and he's saying that the nuclear test site in the northern area near the Chinese border at Punggye-ri has completed its mission, therefore will likely be closed. This is an extraordinarily significant development and, frankly, a huge win for President Trump. I am really almost speechless here at the pace at which North Korea has done this U-turn. And this all started with Donald Trump agreeing to sit down for a summit with Kim Jong-un.
Good news for Trump, good news for the world, makes CNN speechless. That speaks volumes. Now, of course, what we're seeing tonight is just the latest in what is a long list of accomplishments. You can see right there on your screen, but you're likely to never see these things reported in the mainstream media. Now, I have been talking about, and this message of these 5 forces working against the president, these narratives are now dying, especially Trump-Russia collusion, and the president's agenda is working, which is good for the American people. Here's my final word tonight. It's time to put this hatred, this obsessive-compulsive hatred in the media, in the deep state, in the Democratic Party aside. Work for the American people. work for a more peaceful, prosperous America and the world, maybe we'll actually get along. Anyway, coming up, just wait until you meet our upcoming guest, Candace Owens. She's joining us later tonight. Hear about the support she is receiving from Kanye West. It is driving liberals nuts, and you'll hear a viciousness against this young woman that will shock your conscience. And also later in the show tonight, I have an answer to the media, which is clearly obsessed with me.